Hello beautiful souls and welcome to my channel. Welcome to another pick a card reading. Today's topic is one of my favorites, cosmic contact or galactic contact. I want to target this reading mostly for my star seeds, but also for anyone who resonates with galactic consciousness, maybe even planetary consciousness, everything connected really with the cosmos and our evolution and beings from other places. This reading will be for you. And basically, the star seed label is just a label that helps us differentiate what we're going to talk about. Now that I got this out of the way, I want to explain what the reading will be about. So here we'll be channeling the beings that either already have established contact with you or beings that want to establish contact with you. We're going to see who they are, where they come from. That's going to be the major focus in the YouTube portion of this reading. But this reading will also have extended portions for each pile on my Ko-fi page. You will see links in the timestamps. And in the extended portions, we'll be channeling messages about why they're contacting you. What are their messages? What is their connection to you? And whatever else come through. And now, I want to warn you, I try to structure my readings, but of course, some of the information may flow in the YouTube portion and continue in the extended portion, so I'm not going to be a control freak and too maniac about it, just so you know. So please don't get frustrated if I speak on certain things here in the YouTube version, or if I continue to speak about certain things we channeled here in the extended portion. Now, what else do I have to tell you about this reading? Oh yes, I wanted to use this reading as a excuse to kind of motivate you to do a little psychic exercise. And this is super simple. Just, you can pause the video and choose one of the crystals. Choose based on the number of the pile. But you can also pause the video and close your eyes, get silent if you have that luxury to spend time by yourself. Get silent, get still, and try to, for at least 1 minute, maybe set a timer or something, try to focus and to really isolate your senses, to clear your mind, to kind of clear some of the intrusive thoughts as much as you can. Maybe not fully, but as much as you can. And perhaps keep your focus only on the 4 piles. Maybe visualize them. Try to visualize them as clearly as possible in your mind's eye, and this is where you're going to be concentrated. Maybe just outline them in your mind. Maybe try to isolate your senses and get a clairaudient message. Whatever it is that will work for you, I simply encourage you to clear your focus for 1 minute and really try to focus on the piles and not pick randomly or spontaneously. This is a great way to train your intuition. And because I've seen this in the comments, some people, when they try to concentrate or meditate upon the piles, they get piles that don't resonate with them. I think that this is a great learning tool for intuitives or people that want to develop intuition to a certain degree. It's a great tool to discern and to see what processes work for you psychically and what do not work for you. You can see what methods to use, and you will also get a feedback, how you can discern when you get wrong intuitive messages that are just from your brain or whatever, and when you get psychic intel that is accurate. You will start to be able to feel which one feels in a certain way and kind of differentiate the two, so you can tell when you get insights or when you get confused information, if you will. So this is very, very simple. Simply 1 minute of silence. And when I talk about 1 minute of silence, I should get silent myself. I think we've spoken enough about what this reading will be. So you can go right into the timestamps in the comment section below or the description box and pick your pile, and I'll be there. Hello, pile one, and welcome. So I spent some time with your cards. Now let me show them to you. You have Lyra, future timeline, self-observance. You have Delphinus, goodwill, compassion, and altruism with the Knight of Pentacles. We have Archangel Michael with courage and truth. We have Mars with passion, adventure, and war. We have Sirius, star blessing. Yes, proceed, be seen, and push through. And we have Sirius once again with secrecy and number 44 in the past. What I see here is a split. There are two groups. One group is a little higher, more advanced, observing you. And what I channeled for you was the White Lodge. I heard White Lodge. And how your guides showed this to me is that this White Lodge represents a Syrian group of ascended souls that when they've incarnated on Earth, we call to them Ascended Masters. And you're particularly connected with those that had incarnations in Central Asia. So think of Serapis Bey, Moses, Jesus, and probably others that I can't think of now. But yeah, Ascended Masters from Central Asia, they belonged to this White Lodge, and they've been observing not only your journey, of course. We're not that special. I mean, we are special, but not like that. You've been observed along with the soul group you belong to. Alright, that's very important to understand. We are very individual, but we also move in waves and groups of souls. So, they've been observing Mars. Okay, I'm seeing times when Mars was lively and there were beings there. They look similar to us, they look human-like. But something strange about their features makes them different also. They've been observed by the Syrian White Lodge, and what I saw is that there was some sort of war on Mars, and you were there. You were there during a time of war. Now, you are somehow not split. You have to make a decision between continuing to fight, following that program to protect, to fight, etc., to defend. Many of you are installed with this guardian consciousness. I've spoken of this before, and it comes up more and more and more in my channeling, so I suppose it's something I'll be engaging with in the future a little deeper. But I'm getting many of you are installed with this guardian protective defensive consciousness. It's part of who you are, but you had to make a choice, you had to make a decision. From Mars, some could ascend into this White Lodge and others could continue fighting. And you guys decided to continue fighting. That's why you're here on Earth. You're continuing that Martian journey here on Earth. And you work with Archangel Michael in order to remember the sacred nature of the warrior archetype and of the guardian archetype. So Archangel Michael is trying to contact you, but I do see a strong urge from some of you watching this to break a link to your ancestors, to where you come from, to maybe even the origins or the essence of your soul, to break a link with certain gifts or past life memories, trying to erase them or to push them away, to basically break the link to a mission. And these beings from the White Lodge are coming through with a lot of peace, and I'm almost sensing a door opening, a door of light opening, offering you a way out of a karmic vicious cycle. Now, I'm going to talk about this in a bit. Offering you a way out of a karmic cycle, offering you a way out of a path you've been on for quite some time. And this is what's pushing you to break this link. But at the same time, you cannot leave certain things unfinished or undone. And these things have a lot to do with your bloodline. I'm getting strong messages about the bloodline. The ring of fire, the ring of red fire. I saw this ring or a circle shaped by red flames, and it was quite the vision, and I felt an energy of entrapment with this vision. Like that ring was isolating you and keeping you in this isolated area, or it was keeping you inside of it. What I'm getting here is these beings, the beings that want to contact you, that try to contact you and to show you this door of light, are Syrian. But there are also your ancestors coming through, and they have gifted you with this ability to conquer land that may not be yours, but strength basically will tell who would lead this people or the land, who would rule over the land. And that urge stems from your very Martian incarnations, and it's continuing on. And I'm getting a very difficult message to interpret, but it kind of goes like this. You can either choose to give up on things that are not yours by nature and walk into this door of light and let go of the warrior and become a guardian. Now, I think that the warrior is kind of like the lower projection of the guardian consciousness. They are similar and they're very connected, but they're also different. I feel like they're a different level to the same energy. So you are offered this opportunity, and this will take you to work with Archangel Michael, or even with, I'm getting people that realign your energy body. Something about this is coming through. The Syrian White Lodge is saying that there are many healers on earth whose purpose is exactly this, to realign the energy bodies of people, so people have a real free will choice. So the Syrians are guiding you to meet or to get introduced to someone that does work within the bodies, within the energy bodies, that can free you to make your own choice, to not follow manipulation or to not follow a pathway that is false for you and your soul. That is the one way out, or the one way proposed to you. And this is where these beings come from. White Lodge, Ascended Master level, Sirius. Now, the other beings are, some of them are your ancestors, by bloodline, by your current bloodline. Others are past life lineage from Mars. They're perpetuating a battle because something must be finished before they have the power to let go. So I feel like you guys have an ancestral karmic cycle that must be closed before you're free to go your own way, if that makes sense. And this ring of red fire is honestly an ancestral Ouroboros energy, the snake that eats its own tail, never-ending cycle, but it's ancestral, and it requires you to finish it so that you can get out of it and move into your own destiny and break this link. I'm hearing that you've been trying to break a link prematurely to certain things that you still needed to work on and to work through. Because I am seeing that some of the Martians that are connecting with you were oracles, because I'm getting strong oracle energy with this Delphinus card. Strong oracle energy, strong prophecy, a strong prophecy you heard or you were part of, you were told you were part of this prophecy on Mars, and being told this story set up the entire program within your psyche, and you started to manifest this program on Earth. And that is why the Syrians, they're trying to show you how this was never a part of your soul necessarily, it was installed in you. And the Syrians are guiding you towards scriptures, old literature that gives you some sort of prophecy for the future, for the world, maybe even for you personally, like a collective thing that feels super extra personalized. The Syrians are guiding you towards these old ancient scriptures and writings. I'm gonna give you an example, the Revelation. That is just an example, it doesn't have to be that, but they're guiding you towards books, literature, information that feels predictive, that tells you how the story will unfold. And they're trying to show you that this was honestly a Martian agenda that happened here, and it was never intended for humanity. It was a revelation that was never supposed to happen. And the White Lodge is constantly working against this to happen. So that is why you need your spiritual bodies realigned, so you can make a decision about your life and soul progression and mission forward outside of the programming, outside of what's been installed. And that is why they bring your attention to stories, not necessarily because this is the truth, but more so because this is the false enslavement. So be careful about narratives and systems you quickly buy into, or that makes a lot of sense and that is so logical when you look at the worldly events. Because this White Lodge is talking about how they're trying to break people free from perpetuating the story that wasn't supposed to be, like this fate or prophecy that was never actually intended by the higher forces. So what they're trying to show you is that you have great warrior energy, but you've been fighting on the wrong side because you were made to believe that it was the right side. Okay. Now, when I was preparing each pile, I was getting messages. I was having visions. One of them was this ring of red fire, obviously. And the first vision was actually golden nymphs. I saw these female beings. They looked female, they looked feminine, very ethereal, and they were transparent with very loose clothing and cloaks around them, but they were glowing, transparent but glowing in this peachy golden-ish color. They were very beautiful, and the more I spent time with this vision, the more they felt lighten, the more they felt like the nine muses, but they weren't the nine muses, and I heard these golden nymphs. And then when I was pulling cards, Lyre came through and self-observance came through. And when I saw this one, the Knight of Pentacles, the color of this wax, or whatever this is, clay or wax, I'm not sure what exactly is illustrated on the card. It looks like wax to me, but it might be clay as well. Anyways, so when I saw that, it reminded me exactly of the colors of these nymphs. And now that I'm thinking about them, now that I'm trying to tune into that vision, I really feel that this is like a sisterhood of some kind. But it's interesting because whether you guys are female or male, what I saw is how you were represented by this active, masculine, young energy, and you were welcomed in the embrace and of the arms of these nymphs, and they were all your sisters, and they were all welcoming you after a long fight. So some of you are big time restoring your relationships to the feminine collective and the feminine energy, and that is why a lot of female goddesses or archetypes might come in contact with you. You're slowly, bit by bit, restoring your ability to channel this energy yourself. I'm going to ask the cards who these golden nymphs are, but if you ever dream about fairies, nymphs, elves, these ethereal feminines that try to like meet you in the forest, they meet you by the beach, in the ocean, these beings are essentially what I got was primordial light forces. They aren't necessarily identities of any kind. They're more like light forces that represent what we would consider physical laws on Lyra and the planets there, and the forces that formed life there. So you have connection to these primordial life-forming and life-giving forces from Lyra. And that's why it may not matter to some of you Lyran starseeds, because there are definitely Lyran starseeds here. It may not matter whether planets were destroyed, whether stars still exist, whether planets still exist and are present, because you are connected to an ethereal form and a restored world. What I'm hearing is a restored world. These golden nymphs are guiding you, they're contacting you from Lyra. And they come from a future timeline where a higher plane of existence is restored in that constellation. And I'm getting the feeling of coming back home. after a long journey of fighting and proving yourself worthy and ready and capable and proving yourself good enough to serve whatever purpose and mission is given upon you, you're coming back home. So many of you have light ancestors waiting for you. Is there anything else you need to know about the beings that are contacting you or trying to before I move on to the next pile, and before we actually move into the extended portion if you're going to go there? Let's see. Six of Cups, the Sun in Scorpio. Six of Cups is about past lives and soulmates in the astral plane. And it is about pleasure and happiness. And so is Scorpio, out of the water signs. And the Six of Swords. Wow, okay. You have a union awaiting you in the astral plane. A union with a soulmate or even a twin for some of you. The Six of Swords with this Mercury and Aquarius, I do think of the age of Aquarius. I'm getting these oracles from Mars. The souls that were ascended and that were untouched by the downfall or the wars that took place on that planet. These souls, these oracles, they now work on Earth, essentially within the lower chakras, but for higher reasons. They're trying to introduce a sacred sexual practice, and I do feel some of you are initiated into this through almost like a platonic soulmate relationship. Yes, platonic soulmate relationship leading to a more ascended version of intimacy. You're supposed to learn about that. Some of these oracles were born on Earth as yogis and masters that were teaching exactly these mysteries of sacred intimacy and sacred sensuality. And now in the age of Aquarius, I think that you are here to pull this information out and to share it or to learn about it and practice it. I'm getting two particular names. I'm not sure how they will resonate, but I'm getting Lilith and I'm getting King Solomon. So some of you may have memories about temples of sensuality. Alright? Sacred rites that were supposed to awaken your Kundalini. You need to learn more in depth about the flow of energy in the body and how to move with that flow of energy. How to learn not how to learn, but more so how to apply the knowledge about the esoteric flow and cycles of the human body. and you have Martian priestesses or priests and oracles coming through to teach you. And a lot of you will be initiated into this through a friend that feels like a soulmate but also like a friend, and you might be a little confused. Or this is gonna be a soulmate, which is a romantic relationship. I don't see it withstanding the time. But it will benefit both of you. I'm trying to see what else comes through here, because I feel like there's a lot going on in these cards. The White Lodge will help you work through some prejudices around the type of information you'll study. And they're also emphasizing that you are not the people you study about or the information you're studying. You are your actions and you are your choices, but you're not your thoughts or words. Okay, your actions and choice. And I'm saying this because they're showing me how some of you might be drawn to explore intellectually certain depths, right? Sun and Scorpio, certain depths to your identity and personality, or you might be drawn to explore certain truths about the identities and personalities of teachers or teachings. So the Syrians are trying to remind you that you can study something and still not practice it, but just have awareness about it. So they're trying to take down some of your fears around the types of things you're interested in studying or reading about. I'm going to talk about these more extensively in the extended reading of pile 1, because there's a lot to say here, but it's not necessarily connected to who your guides or who the beings that want to establish contact with you are. It's more about their agendas and their messages. So I think we're already ready to move into that part of the reading. So if you would like, you can go into the timestamps both in the comment section or description box and find the extended portion for pile 1, and we'll dive deeper into your reading. Or you can just stop here and enjoy whatever came through. Maybe watch another pile from this reading, whatever you feel like doing. You can support me by liking this video, subscribing to my channel, and sharing my content with your fellow Starseed friends. And you can also donate to my PayPal link or Coffee link. So thank you for spending this time with me. I highly appreciate it, and I value your energy and your time being here with me. Thank you, and I hope I'll see you in my next reading as well. Let me know how this resonated in the comment section below, and if you go into the extended version, don't forget to comment there as well. Alright, pile 1. See you soon. Bye. Hello, pile 2, and welcome to your reading. As you can see, I've laid out the cards because I wanted to take a look at them and tune into the messages. I don't have a lot prepared before tuning into the video, but I did channel something, so we'll start from there. I was continuously staring at the cards, and they felt very um, very diverse and very separate from one another, as if I was looking at these separate factions that have nothing to do with each other. And it was very hard to see the forces you were connecting with. But slowly, Earth continuously drew my attention. So I'm going to talk about Earth first. I do see that you have a strong connection to beings that you may get a little confused about their origin because they are from Earth. And they may look a little ethereal. You may think of them as Pleiadians or whatever. You may try to find who these beings are. But they are from Earth. And I kept seeing inner Earth. I kept seeing that. And I kept having, with this temple of truth, this card kind of took me into the picture, and I had a vision of this fountain, and it was so huge. You can it's inside the planet, but it's the space around it is so vast. There is a sky, and you cannot tell you are inside something, let alone the planet. So this is where I found you residing in inner Earth, or at least a fraction of you, a past life incarnation of yours, and you were very, very connected with inner societies, is what I heard. I also, on this piece of paper for each pile, I had prepared papers. If you didn't hear this in the intro, basically when I was shuffling the cards, preparing for this reading, I received different visions for different piles and I wrote them down. For pile number 2, I saw these tall stone people, very, very tall, like statues. And these statues were kind of carved out in the rock, in the stone. And they felt so old. They felt like they've always been here. They felt like giants. So I do think you guys are connecting with Earth beings that are parallel to us currently, because time and space are an illusion and they're not linear, at least. So these very, very tall beings, these giants, are parallel to us and you're connecting with them. And I think that the magic or the skills, the abilities you're supposed to practice are very earthy. So I do sense a lot of paganism coming through from this pile. Then I got this message: be no longer slave, creating for someone else. And I heard 555, and this can be a number synchronicity you receive, but the weirdest thing is that I also heard the name, which might resonate for some of you. It might be a name of someone you know. However this resonates, I'm gonna mention it. I'm gonna let the message find its destination. I heard the name Thomas, and it was connected to this message of being no longer slave, creating for someone else. So it's time to create for yourself. And it's funny because when this card came out, the throat chakra, the authenticity and self-expression, I was like, absolutely authentic creation is needed here. We have Lyra, we have Earth, and we have Arcturus. I want to mention that the Lyran presence is in all the piles. The Lyran cards from this deck kept coming out in each pile, and some of them I turned back into the pile of cards. And basically I think that group 1 and you guys, group 2, have a card with the Lyrans come through, but the Lyrans are an overall presence in this entire reading. It's just that those of you who have the cards in the reading are especially connecting with the Lyrans. Okay, the Lyrans are somehow coming through for all of us, but some of us have a more intimate connection with certain origins. All right, so you have Lyra, Arcturus, and the Earth. And interestingly enough, you have Capricorn. This constellation came through with the consciousness of the planet Saturn. So not only the constellation, but also the planet that is ruling it, Saturn. I won't be surprised if you're connecting with Saturnian consciousnesses, beings from Saturn, or have this planet positioned in a very important place in your chart. I mean, Saturn in general is a very important placement, whatever it is, but some of us have it more emphasized. And I think that for those of you, you guys have a special connection to this planet. Therefore, you have a very special connection to crystalline life forms. In fact, I think that you have the ability to heal with crystals and to use crystals to soothe your energy, use crystals to kind of as an outlet for your energy, for an energy build up. The earth has provided you with tools. Your practices, your talents, everything will be very tightly connected to the earth and the earth plane. Now, in the spirit of this message, be no longer slave creating for someone else, I'm gonna tie in together inner earth and this card right here, but first I want to read about it. I want to read about lupus. So you have the Nine of Swords, lupus, with secret dealings, rumors, and provocation. King Lycaon, or Lycaon, whatever, I cannot pronounce the name. This king, famously challenged Zeus to see if he was truly omniscient, by serving the god roasted human flesh. So the king tested Zeus by serving him roasted human flesh. In retaliation for this hideous act, Zeus turned this king into a wolf and then proceeded to kill the king's 50 sons with lightning bolts. The constellation Lupus depicts King so-and-so after his transformation into a wolf. Now about wolves. Wolves know the precise order of their pack hierarchy, but every now and again, a wolf will test their leader to confirm or challenge its authority. I don't know why I can't read this. Lupus is a card of secretive dealings, provocation, and underhanded hostility, but not without retaliation. This is a card of skepticism, anxiety, and doubt that may be catalyst for the underhanded actions mentioned above. Uncertainty or dissatisfaction can often lead a person to challenge their perception of someone or something. Okay, so that was kind of an essential passage I wanted to read because the challenge of hierarchy. You guys have Capricorn, which is all about hierarchy, priorities, practicality, analysis, synthesis, all of these things, and order. That's the main thing about Capricorn and Saturn. You guys are challenging your teachers, alright? And those that are trying to establish contact with you are your very teachers. And there is a challenge going on because some of these teachers you resonate with have kind of participated in things that you don't resonate with. So you often work with dualistic teachers. You often do that because you want to challenge yourself and your ability to make decisions. So if you have Gemini or Libra placements, that explains it very well. But this is basically the archetypes you're working with, the decision makers, Libra, Gemini, or the decision procrastinators, if you ask me. Nothing against Libra and Gemini. I have these placements in my chart. So, pile 2. You work with very dualistic teachers, very polar teachers. That's why the seeds of polarity came through in this reading. And what I saw was that you were part of tribes that went inside the earth, inner earth beings, and this is where you developed. And then there was a challenge. Should we go out on the surface and teach, or should we stay in? I feel like you guys stayed in. A lot of you chose to protect yourselves and to protect your tribes and to keep the tradition. But tradition turned against you, and what I'm seeing here is that you are working with Horus. He's a child to Osiris and Isis, a child of alchemical union. Osiris and Isis are they just simply represent the feminine and the masculine archetype and how they dance together through the cycles of life. So it's simple as that, they're principles, not necessarily identities. And Horus is the the result of these principles in work. So what I think is going on here is the beings that are working with you are polar, both feminine and masculine, maybe even quite androgynous, but these beings, I see them as founders of Earth, okay? They are kind of like great keepers. They hold Earth together. They're not the planet. They're not Gaia or her higher self. They're kind of like guides or angels, or forces that hold her layers of different bodies, her etheric body, her physical body that we live on, etc., etc. They hold these bodies together. They hold Gaia together. And these were teachers that you could meet through your practices when you were incarnated in what many esoteric schools call Agartha, inner earth. So I'll call them Agarthians. It feels to me that you are also challenged by the beings that come in contact with you. You are challenged just as you challenge authorities, because I feel like you work very well with this type of energy, being pushed a little bit. There was scarcity around what was going on the surface of the planet, and you kind of abandoned what was going on the surface of the planet. That's why I do think you're working with Archangel Raphael, with healing and abundance. The scarcity of lack or being enslaved, thinking that you were escaping enslavement, made you a slave of your own fears by remaining where you didn't want to remain, but it felt forced to. So you have a fraction, if you will, of your higher self. You have a lot of energy concentrated in inner earth. And it was there during great disasters and great wars and very drastic dynamic events happening on the planet. You were there trying to support the planet from the inside, but Gaia is calling you out. She's calling you to come out and play on the surface and confront or face authorities. And that's something I see you should be doing. Archangel Raphael is especially coming because he is trying to resolve any revengeful emotions within you. Some of you have a karmic pattern with parenting, not maybe necessarily with your own parents, but you becoming parents. And this is very obvious here. Regretting certain decisions you made because it served as a disadvantage to your future lineage. With the Temple of Truth, I was very drawn to these golden wings. So I wouldn't be surprised if you are guided by your spirit guides and galactic team to write things down. Horus has one eye for the sun and one eye for the moon, which means that he has his both brain hemispheres synced, which allows him to channel creativity in a practical manner. I feel like many of you are pushed to practice and to do these psychic exercises a lot, to write down all of your emotions. You were pushed by this galactic team to basically you see how this water is coming out so fiercely, and so it's fast, it's strong and unstoppable. It's the same with how your guides want you to express yourself and to let your emotions out. Arcturus. About Arcturus, pile 2. I do feel the Arcturians, they have a lot to do with holding the planet together, but I'm feeling also distance. And I don't know, but for some reason with Arcturus I'm getting a lot of messages around relationships. So the Arcturians are working with you to teach you about the essence of family and family dynamics and on the higher planes, but they're not directly tied to all of the things I previously mentioned. You are someone who is supposed to disrupt patterns. This is what I'm seeing with 555. And I do see that you're being invited on a lonesome journey, either traveling alone or working on projects alone, simply because you need that freedom and you need that experience of independence. But yes, if I have to be specific about the guides you're connecting with, I would say Archangel Raphael, Inner Earth guides, giants, the giant tribes, or something like that. You know, these tall stone people, these giants we've heard legends about that became rocks and mountains and such. These are beings that are more from a parallel world, more so interdimensional. They're not necessarily from a different star system. These beings are working with you. Saturn, lords or beings from Saturn. The Arcturians are a little more detached. Liar too. I am a little confused about Lyra and Arcturus. I might pull some cards about that, but perhaps the Lyrans manifest as your teachers with the seeds of polarity. But still, I feel their presence detached. It's almost like the results of their decisions, or they are indirectly impacting you, and they know that, and that's why they try to initiate contact. But because of the indirect impact they have on you, it's not an easy contact to make. I feel like the Lyrans are trying heavily to activate some codes within you, within your energy field, in order to open you up to contact with them, but it's difficult, and you're not yet in need of their knowledge or guidance. So they have this overall presence of warmth and uniting polarities, because this is the higher octave of the Lyrans. They indulged into creating form, and now they're supposed to retreat back and to indulge into leaving form. So they unite all the scattered consciousness that had to manifest in a physical form. Now it unites back into its one soul consciousness. Some people call it monadic consciousness, one monad. This is what the Lyrans are doing. They're going back the ladder, and this process is making it a little harder to connect with us. Me, as someone who identifies with the Lyran origin, I have discovered a lot about the Lyrans. I may talk about this in some sort of esoteric chat or some video like that, but I've said it before, and I discover more and more and more misconceptions about the Lyran energy, and who they are and how they come on Earth. So yeah, if I don't follow necessarily a popular narrative, especially about the Lyrans, that's why. It's because I'm doing a lot of... It's not even that I'm doing it, it's kind of like a natural awareness, right, raising around certain things about the Lyrans, and I'm like, this doesn't make sense, and this doesn't make sense, and I come up with a completely different story that makes sense, at least to me, and I will most likely share it at some point. But with the Arcturians, yes, it's like I see a mother and a child, so something about parents. Perhaps, I don't know if some of you know weird stories that your mom shared. If she was visited by relatives when she was pregnant with you or something, but I feel like these beings that she perceived in a familial or familiar way were actually Arcturians. Arcturians had something to do with your conception, something to do with preparing your mom to conceive you. That's why they're coming through. They're trying to establish a natural order of things to balance things out. So if you one day want to have kids, or if you do, they work extensively on making sure they don't have to interfere during the pregnancy of your partner or yours, or wait a second, I know some people will be like, I'm not pregnant, my partner will never get pregnant. They are working in such a way so that when it comes to you birthing a project, giving birth to some creation, whatever it is, you don't need them. They're trying to prepare you for a phase where you don't need them and you only need your higher self. When I have to be honest, when I saw lupus for the first time with this card, I was thinking of Native American tribes and the wolf as a totem to some of them. So I do think you might be connecting with some spirit animal guides too that represent your nation It doesn't have to be Native Americans. I'm sure there are other nations represented by the wolf totem. And in fact, you may want to research this, or you may want to research legends about werewolves and where they come from, their origins, what nations, what is the most ancient or the first people that had this. This mythology around werewolves and shapeshifting. Oh my god, yes. So when I was when I had the cards laid down and I was trying to tune into them and see what beings were coming through for you, with the wolf, I got strong shapeshifting vibes because of the legends around shamanism and the shapeshifters and the tribes. So I do think you're working with some shape-shifting beings that will appear in different ways, or they will have a mix of features of different beings, and no prejudices. I love shape-shifting energy. I'm a Gemini North Node and I love it. However, you definitely want to be careful with beings that are too elusive and which do not have a specific identity that they present themselves with, or if they're always changing, or if they embody many energies. There might be tints of chaos in those beings and in their consciousness. So work with them carefully, mindfully, but don't reject the contact if you think that you can benefit somehow from it or learn something from it. But what I was getting with this, there was a connection to the Temple of Truth that many of you, in order to fully express yourselves in your truth, you will have to shapeshift. It's like for each sort of expression that you're supposed to have in this world, any sort of creativity, creation, etc., you will have to shapeshift. And I feel like you should really research, and you should really research the origins of your family, because some of you might actually come from lands or tribes that had these legends, that had these mythos, and I can share my perspective based on my journey. I know that on my land there were mages, if you will, not magicians but mages. This is the more appropriate word, that could shapeshift. Apparently that is the story. Okay, that is the story. You choose what to believe or what not to believe, but these people could shapeshift into any animal they wished, and one of them specifically shapeshifted into a wolf, and saved his life. Anyways, so research your land, you guys, and where your genetics take you, because you might have some blood or genetics connected to people that were into shapeshifting, or some shamanistic practice that was connected to shapeshifting, maybe not in the literal sense, but at least in a sense of consciousness. Well, I'm hearing a message from Archangel Michael that in the midst of so much intensity and different energies pulling you in different directions, Archangel Raphael is always in the center. He is always in the center of your heart. He is always in the center of your life. He is always trying to be an overall energy in your life. That's why your connection with Archangel Raphael might be rarely obvious or clairvoyant or clairaudient or intense or apparent, but it is there always. And for some reason he just wants you to know that you always have a healer by your side. It doesn't mean you can compromise your heart and your aura, but you always have a healing force working in your life. So whenever you feel like you're hurt or wounded or whatever, you always have the healing process going on. You have to trust this. For some of you, light language or chanting can be very healing, because I'm drawn to the ang, and in my mind's eye, I had this vision of someone banging the ang into a metal or something, and there was a frequency produced. So what I'm getting is you can chant, or you can speak light language and heal through this. And sometimes you are called to sing or to chant or to speak light language to heal yourself. Your body has mechanisms to heal itself, and you should listen more to these instincts. Oh, wait. We have, what is this? Eight of Swords, yes. Jupiter and Gemini. Wow. All right. Yes, oh my gosh, your teachers are full of duality and polarity. And that's because this incarnation for you is an incarnation of choosing your truth. All of your teachers, no matter which side they sit on, invite to the temple of truth. I want one more card, and I'll see what comes through intuitively, and I'll move into the extended portion of this reading. Queen of Swords, absolutely. Moon in Libra, Mercury in Virgo. Very neurotic energy. Interesting. I'm seeing whales and orcs. For some reason, looking at the Queen of Swords. I'm getting that during your time in Inner Earth, in that space, you learned a lot about frequencies. And that is a huge talent of yours that you should find an outlet for. Creating music, creating meditation, something. And it's such a natural talent, you may not even realize, well, you're singing or you're humming when you're stressed, or when you need to process emotions or something. This is Set, and it's interesting because Horus had to challenge Set. I don't remember if it was for Set did something. Isis, Osiris, and Set were brothers and sisters, and Horus had to challenge his uncle. But I don't remember the reason, so I might speak about this in the extended portion. Anyway, but we do have him come through. So once again, this tradition, right? The uncle, the older one. Jupiter is also the uncle in astrology, by the way. Or sometimes the spouse. It depends on the type of astrology you do. And the way the chart is positioned. And the age of the individual. Anyways. But Jupiter come through as a teacher, but also an authority of tradition. Traditionally established authority, and someone to respect. And you guys are deeply connected to Horus because you are here to defy this authority and to challenge it. Well, I think we'll see how you're gonna do this and the rest of the messages in the extended portion. So if you want to go there, the link is in the comment section below, right underneath the timestamp for pile 2. So, pile 2, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this was useful and helpful as much as it can be. And let me know in the comment section, did you enjoy this reading and did it resonate? If it did, make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel because it's the best way to support it. You can donate to my Ko-fi link or PayPal donation link in the description box below, but that is not necessary. I am very, very, very grateful for your presence here, and I hope I'll have you here in my next video as well. Bye! Hello pile 3 and welcome to your reading. As you can see, I have the cards spread out. That is because I wanted to meditate on them, and this little piece of paper here is where all the messages tie in. Now, this is what I channeled when I was shuffling my different decks and preparing each pile, and I wrote down quickly my impressions on literally whatever paper was nearby. But when I opened the cards to prepare for this reading, I did some automatic writing here and some channeling, and I'll be explaining these things to you, who are the beings contacting you and why, and we're going to go more in depth in the extended portion. So let me first introduce you to your cards. We do have the karmic board clearing card, energetic clearing, rewrite your story, live your truth. We have Venus, love, beauty, refinement and healing. We have the Sun, ultimate truth, the culmination of consciousness. We have the Page of Pentacles with the constellation of Canis Major, acknowledgement, devotion and modesty. We have the Page of Cups with the constellation Columba, message of peace, hope and optimism. We have fusion and magic with a present timeline of Orion and Orion beings. And we have beyond wisdom with the founders of our galaxy, which live in a parallel timeline to us. Alright. So we're going to start off with this little guy right here. I wrote down the witch trials, Medusa and Hydra and Cassiopeia. Why the witch trials? That's because he had visions of this timeline, of this history event. But what I felt is that this is personal to you. It's part of your past lives timeline. Alright, so why Orion is coming through is because they are directly connected to your experiences during the witch trials. I do believe you were hunted down, and your life energy or your life force was taken away forcefully, and they're trying to restore it by seeking forgiveness, seeking peace. They're trying to restore the karmic balance here. Thus the karmic board clearing card. I'm going to go more in depth in each card, but just so you know, the Orions are coming through. They're connected to your witch trials experiences, because it was their agenda that ran on the planet that made people suspicious of magic and everything that was natural to us. Everything that came from Venusian priestesses, everything that came from Pleiadian priestesses, and everything that also the native angelic Orion beings embodied was forbidden and deemed as evil here on Earth because of the distortions the Orions were going through. So now that they're healing, they're also trying to heal our perception of these things. So this is one reason why the Orions are connecting with you. You have them coming through. You have the founders, which in the guidebook of this oracle deck, the founders are explained to represent God or oneness, one consciousness. But I do think that they're connected to the Sun card. These Sun beings are the masters of our solar system that live on the Sun, very ascended beings. They are sort of the founders of our solar system. So the Sun and the founders seem to be one energy, one presence, and you're connecting to them. You're connecting to ascended masters that live on the Sun, that can be considered to live on the sun or be solar beings, because this is their level of consciousness. And the sun or any star is usually the highest point of consciousness evolution in each solar system. Now, there are stars that are at a lower rate, but that's another topic. So you are connecting to the sun, which might be experienced through special connections to literally the sun beaming down upon us, the sunbeams and the sunlight and daytime. I'm getting working with sunstone and tiger's eye is also something recommended here, but these beings here feel like parental figures, and it's like they also try to fix the mess that was made. Okay. Now, when it comes to the Orion beings that I see here, with this page of cups, with the Columba card, I had a strong message about fallen angels and a strong message about the fallen angels and how some of them represent different sins that we consider to be sins. And some of you might feel like or resonate to be a fallen angel, or you're connecting with them. There is a lot of energy around you contacting beings that want to help you redeem yourself or want to be redeemed themselves. On the karmic board healing, what I channeled with this figure here was a name, Zena or Zeala, something with Z, a name with Z. I felt strong feminine energy, but it leans more towards androgyny. This being was kind of like a headmaster to this karmic board, to this board, in fact, not necessarily karmic, but a board that works with these beings that are supposed to be redeemed, that are supposed to be reintegrated within the sun. They're supposed to connect with the healing energy of Venus, with the life-restoring energy of Venus. Venus is about restoration of life. It combines earth and water, and we have these two elements here, and we have them both as pages. And pages in tarot and from the court cards, they're like the maidens in tarot, but they're also like the children, the most innocent, so they hold the purest potential. They're the thrones for the aces in tarot, so they are the representation of a being that is able to hold within themselves potential of certain elements, and usually you must be very, very pure and very innocent to do that. But you see, you only hold the potential, you don't realize it, because realization of potential ultimately eliminates innocence and purity, because you then experience things. So I do see here this energy of restoring your innocence, and beings that you're connecting with also restoring their innocence. Of course, it's never gonna go back to the way it was, because experiences they have already happened. However, it's a deep purification of the Akashic records. Now, with these fallen angels, what I felt was that some of you are connected to, you are in contact, whether you realize it or not. It can be very, very subtle. You are in contact with souls from these witch trials, past lives that you've had, with souls that felt betrayed or left out, and even betrayed by you to some degree. So for some of you it can be vice versa. Of course, see how you resonate and what do you think about your Akashic records, what you've discovered. But I think that some of you have betrayed some people from your past lives, and they still have not moved on. These souls are still not incarnated, and they're in contact because they wait for you to heal to a certain extent so you can reach healing in the higher planes, so they can move on from their pain and trauma and reincarnate. That's why I also got Medusa, Hydra, Cassiopeia, usually feminine constellations with females in the center of the mythology that portrayed slightly darker traits. A lot of your feminine friends and female connections carry a lot of karma, and it is up for healing, okay? But yeah, these connections, these souls that you're connecting with are coming through very strong. And it's not just one, I feel like it's a group of beings, and it is possible that you felt betrayed by them and you are unable to move from certain habits that are self-defensive and self-protective because of what you've experienced, and they're trying to reach out to you to seek resolution even though you're here on the earthly plane and they're not. But most of these fallen angels, quote unquote, have a descent from Orion. And I did see with the karmic board clearing in Venus, I did see a literal round table. So you might be astral traveling to a dimension where it looks like you're gathering with other beings and souls and masters and the fallen ones and a mix of every level of consciousness, honestly, around this round table, and you're trying to help each other out, give each other feedback and advice. Okay. So the sun wants to talk to you. The sun wants to give you information. The sun wants to give you truth about the world situation. The Orions are usually behind a lot of the manipulation going on Earth, but there is a tribe of Orion beings that are also the whistleblowers. So you're connecting with the whistleblowers, which were in the past involved in the corruption and manipulation, but they no longer want to do that. They have been through a very tough process. I see quite intense thing. I see their souls entering their stars and also communicating with different stars from the galaxy, but entering their stars, like these portals within the stars or something, like a star dimension, if you can call it that, and literally parts of them burning off and new parts being restored. So these beings you're working with, they're witchy, okay, strongly connected to witches, strongly connected to the beheaded feminine energy, strongly connected to the feminine energy that was deemed evil, strong Lilith vibes also, but I'm not channeling Lilith necessarily. If you feel some special connection to Lilith, go watch pile 1. Here, it's very different. But yeah, this fear of your own power, this idea that people are scared of you because you're bad or whatever, this is not true. The message was that people were scared of you and might still be scared of you as a karmic consequence of everything you've been through. because they don't understand you. And you may mirror this with friends or relationships, especially with Venus, where you don't understand your partner, you're scared of the love, you're scared of the relationship. That's very possible. You have the universe, you have the world card, which brings me back to an initial message I received that you guys are very mixed and you communicate with all sorts of beings in this galaxy. You communicate and try to receive messages from all sides of the story. You get all sides, all perspectives on the story. And essentially, the world card represents, to me personally, the Akashic Records. So you're definitely working within the Akashic Records. I don't know if it is obvious to you or not, but you are. And the founders are showing you how time works through the Akashic Records, because they show you what already happened and it imprinted onto the fabric of space, but they also show you how a lot of other things happen simultaneously and imprint one layer above or under this very fabric of that space. So space comes in many layers, and they show you how different events are to be integrated into our past and into our future. And it's really going to be your point of evolution and perception that will determine which impressions onto the fabric of space you experience. Oh wow, I'm getting this message. You are time. Time is not outside of you, it's within you, because your point of consciousness determines which timeline you experience. You are the clock ticking, and time is not linear. It's more like a... Time is more like a radio station. And I'm getting this message from the founders that we understand all of these concepts, many of us do, logically. We know that time is not linear, and we know that when you tune into different realities, you experience parallel versions of reality and they exist. But they're saying that there is kind of like a missing link where we should understand time to exist within. This is when we have a lot of answers come through, and this is where they're trying to guide you. So you may experience a change of memories or a memory loss, memories switched, little details altered. You may even consciously choose to change certain memories, and it's like you do it as a joke, but 10 years from now you actually have changed your memories through meditation, hypnosis, all of these things. But this is gonna be extra hard for the fixed signs, or if you have a lot of fixed signs placements in your natal chart. This is Scorpio, Aquarius, Taurus, and Leo. Excuse me, and Leo. It's because the fixed signs are the cross that holds an objective matrix for the most part and is experienced by most people, by the collective, and it holds that memory very, very deeply. That's why these are the fixed signs. They fixate on everything, and although the nature of the universe is very, very fluid, there is a layer which is fixed, a layer which is fluid, and a layer which is trying to combine the two. if you were to look at the universe in the sacred number of 3, you would get these 3 layers: the fixed signs, the cardinal signs, and the mutable signs. And the fixed signs, they hold the Akashic records, because without any nature of fixation, there is no history and there is no future, and there are no Akashic records, because the Akashic records are history recorded, or experiences, knowledge recorded, impressions and feelings recorded, timelines recorded. But even within the fluid layers of time, you still need to fixate this somehow. You still need to make it somehow linear in order to be part of the Akashic records and someday be accessed by some beings if the information is needed. So yes, the founders basically are kind of showing you that your past lives didn't happen if you choose not to have happened, and they cannot be a blockage if they weren't happening in the first place, if they weren't there, part of your past. But you can choose them to have happened if this is going to benefit your journey, if this is going to make you more powerful, stronger, more refined, and this is where you have refinement with Venus. Also, I got a strong message about artists being in this pile, and I was hearing how you've been born to be a creator, to be an artist, and you're trained by the founders how to create and to be an artist. And to know that your art will live outside of you, it will take life of its own, just as the creation of the universe took life of its own. Well, we have the Four of Swords, Jupiter in Libra. Yes, so expand your artistic vision, expand your skills, and don't worry too much about the meaning of it all. But I do see a refinement of your art skills, and it's inspired by the founders, and for some of you by some Venusian beings. Now, with Venus, usually I also get Pleiadian energy coming through, and it's funny because the Pleiades and Orion are kind of like the light and dark. the main character and the evil one, the hero and the villain. This is what we see with Pleiades and Orion. But here it seems like you possess both origins, and you're doing this combining thing of these origins. You combine them, you try to make them work together. Alright, you have the Four of Swords with Jupiter in Libra. I want to focus on this because we have a juicy reptile on this card. And we have the Centaur, Sagittarian energy, Jupiter, right? And we have, oh wow, we have Inanna, the goddess that rides on the beast, which this is not my label of her. She sometimes is labeled as the whore because she tamed the beast of the animalistic nature through her sexual and magical power. Okay, I'm just spilling out knowledge. It's not my personal interpretation. I don't see Inanna as the whore, but this is how she is depicted, especially riding on a dark wolf or some type of beast against Sagittarius. Well, this is Libra energy, very Venusian, very material, into the senses, wants to experience pleasure and sensuality against higher morals, religion, wisdom. Jupiter is an ancient ruler of Pisces, so against also sacrifice. And as I said, there is a sense of redemption here, and this is usually connected to the planet Neptune and Piscean energy and sacrifice. So here we have, within the Four of Swords, that represent usually meditation and silence, peace, and all of these things. We actually have the pleasure-seeking, powerful, sensual nature that can empower us, but it can also kind of pull us into the darkness, versus the ideologies that can be too much, okay, too overboard, philosophical, but also this philosophy and these morals are what will help us ascend. And we have the reptilian being determining which one is the winner, which one is the loser here. So this is very interesting. Now, I think that this is a reminder that when I speak of the Orions, I'm not speaking of reptilian energy that you're connecting with, okay? First and foremost. But you've definitely tapped, many of you have tapped into this information about reptilians living on Earth and kind of having their own civilization here. Look, I think that the best message or advice that I can give you about the beings that you're in contact with is that some of them will be tricky because they seek redemption, but this is not easy. It's never an easy path. And while I do have a lot of faith in the Orions here, with Jupiter in Libra or this Four of Swords energy, if things are given to you way too easy, or if you're seeking out the easy path, you may unknowingly fall short of your potential. And also with the karmic board clearing and the sun here, what I'm getting is that angelic consciousness is trying to reclaim the planet, okay? And there might be other ancient forces that are connected to the planet, but there is no ownership over the planet. And therefore, there is no ownership over your physical body or your physical vessel. So you... especially if you guys embody a lot of feminine energy, you might feel like your physical body is the reason why you are a certain way in terms of personality, or why you should not be trusted, why you're not capable enough, all of these things. Medusa energy. And I don't want to get into feminism topics here, not at all, because I'm not a fan of any extreme movement, whether it supposedly supports me or somebody else. I'm not a fan of it. I like balanced opinions, but we do have feminine energy that was pushed, and it became dark, because obviously when you suppress whatever in this universe, it will come back angry at you. And you can see this throughout history a lot. Anything suppressed, anything pushed, eventually comes back. The yo-yo effect, I call it. So this witchy vibe, this witch energy, this Medusa mythology, you have beautiful beings trying to work with you and show you the way out of the anger or frustration and fear, and your own fear of your own nature, and this habit that's been put into your head to see certain traits of your nature as evil, which they're not. This is what you guys are working through, and to ultimately claim sovereignty over your physical body. But this is taking place on two levels, because you have the beings that are teaching you about Earth does not belong to anyone, god damn it. And then there are the beings trying to teach you your body does not belong to anyone, it actually belongs to the planet. And the state of the planet will be deeply affecting your physical body. So watching what's happening on Earth and trying to check back in with any symptom, anxiety, weak immune system or something will be very accurate for you, trying to connect these dots. It's interesting because I feel like Inanna here is hailing to the sky and to the gods with this cup, and she's also offering something to the center, and the center is shooting down into the earth, and they're all in the clouds. Okay. This card is embedded with a lot of symbolism and many layers. Jupiter in Libra to me feels like the very balance between masculine and feminine, because the feminine is like, let's enjoy what's given to us. She's making an offer here, but she's riding on the beast, quote unquote, of chaos, because it's black and dark. And then this masculine principle has an aim for the earth. I think that this is talking about agendas within religion that you're outgrowing, okay? You are working with guides that are trying to help you unplug from religious manipulation. Maybe some of you have been born in families which were religious, and within all the doctrines and tradition, there is this brewing chaos and ritual that's done by religious institutions. So it's hypocrisy at its finest. And you're fighting with a lot of this within your energy field. Another being, by the way, kind of getting into a different part of this reading here, another being that came through for you through the Venus card and the Pleiades was Lady Nada, an Ascendant Master. So I want to summarize the beings you're connecting with, that you're in contact with, and we're going to move on to the extended portion of this reading. So you have this guide, Zena or Zeana, that I channeled here, or a guide with strong Z in the name, a headmaster of a karmic board, of a something like a astro or galactic board, where you are gathering with many different beings and clearing karma between you and them. You're working with Venusian beings, and especially Pleiadians, and Lady Nada came as a representative of them. You're working with Sun Masters, solar beings, and the Sun itself conveying you a lot of information. You have these souls from your witch trials that might be also soulmates, people and beings that you have connection with on a soul level from Orion. You're working with Orions, very predominantly, they're the most predominant energy in this reading, and the founders, which are most likely one and the same with these sun beings, the founders of our solar system. Okay, so this was the summary of who you are in contact with. Oh yeah, and let's not forget some beings that feel like fallen angels, okay? So that's what I have. This is the summary of who you were in contact with, and I hope this resonated. Let me know. In the extended portion of this reading, we'll dive deeper into the reasons why, what are their messages, how they're connected to you, and still see if we can specify the beings connecting here with you. if there is anything else coming through about that, because this is where things get kind of interesting and kind of juicy, but I do need more time with these cards and more meditation to channel these messages. So thank you so much for watching and for being here, spending this precious time with me. I hope this reading was worth it and valuable in terms of information, and I hope it helps you. This is more of my esoteric types of readings, but there is a lot of content on my channel that you can enjoy that is more down to earth. So thank you once again. You can like and share to support my channel and subscribe, of course, or you can donate to my links, my PayPal donation link or my Ko-fi link in the description box. And lastly but not least, be present with me in my next video. I would love to have you here. Bye. Hello pile 4 and welcome to your reading. As you can see, I already have spread out the cards. I wanted to take some time with them. I didn't prepare too much. I kind of want to go with the flow with this one and just see what my intuition brings forth at the present moment. But let me show you the cards and kind of explain, especially this one, what it is, and then we're going to get into your messages. So you guys have the Anunnaki light codes, energetic shift, new information, end of a cycle. You have Sotis / the Sirius constellation, perpetuate life, mastery of letters and righteousness. You have the Lyra constellation, crystal vision, duty, long-term and great events. You have Jupiter, conversation, persuasion and charisma. You have Three of Swords with Hercules, great effort, trial and persistence. And you have Zeta Reticuli twice with learning to nurture and renewed hope, as both cards are from the present timeline. And this guy, this little guy, is basically, when I was shuffling the decks and preparing the piles for this YouTube reading, I get impressions and visions and stuff, and I grabbed paper around me and quickly wrote things down. And for you, I heard one specific message. It was so confidently expressed. For the ones who don't believe, we visit you in your room and inspire your dreams. I wrote down inspire because I didn't want to scare some of you, but the actual word I got was enter. We visit you in your room and we enter your dreams. So for a lot of you, you guys have visitors. The galactic contact for you is pretty physical, especially in your room, especially in your sleep. In fact, it's very likely they create dreams so they can communicate with you through them, but they are in the very room. You might have woken up suddenly, and your attention is drawn to the moon, to the sky. You wake up from a very vivid dream and you're like, oh my god, I swear I was there. You have the physical symptoms going on still. Things of that nature are very likely for you. And I was not surprised that I got this message, because when I was shuffling this deck, these two cards came out and I was like, oh my gosh, no way. Because Zeta Reticuli are known for visitations and also taking people on board on ships. So that's why I didn't want to scare you, but it is possible that this was done to you. It is possible that there was some, as you can see, physical interference with your body, some operations done. Of course, these are, I would say, rare cases. Perhaps they're more frequent than we think, but a lot of us don't remember. So it will be a rare case for those of you who remember such experiences, but I'm sure that there are people like this in this pile, and I just wanted to give you the confirmation that you're not crazy, okay? And with Zeta Reticuli, you also have Anunnaki come through. So these two are very much, they feel connected to me. They feel connected to me. I am getting strong, strong senses, let's say, feelings of beings that are not good nor bad, they're kind of neutral. But we do have overall positive messages. You see, the Zeta Reticuli are from the present timeline and they are learning to nurture and they have renewed hope. And this one is playing with a child. So I would not be shocked if some of you feel like you have hybridized children, your birth was interfered with, or your child was interfered with, or you have given genetic material for conceiving a child somewhere else. Okay, these are just the first messages that I'm getting here. With the Anunnaki light codes and Jupiter, I was also receiving a download about you being trained to become teachers, but some of you do come from Anunnaki lineage and you have hybridized energy within you, but this is not the end of the world. In fact, I think that your position as a teacher or a leader in today's society, your skills to create your own business, to be independent, to rule over your stuff, basically, rule over your life, even demand respect naturally, easily mastering stuff to the point where you are respected. Like these things that flow in your life that are connected to you getting up the social ladder, basically, have a thing to do with your Anunnaki descent and the natural state of your energy field, which demands respect. And people naturally perceive you as a leader, as someone in a position of rulership, as someone on top. I'm not saying that this is good, okay? But it is what it is. It's part of your inherited blueprint, okay? Because Anunnaki were what we considered the gods, although they were no gods, they were physical beings just like us. So I question whether they were gods or not, but they were considered such because of their advancement. So it's possible that you guys will also, even with Jupiter and Zeus, he is also the god of the Olympus. So people may perceive you in this nature. They may perceive you as someone, as a higher up, as someone who always knows what they're doing, as someone that they can go and receive help or advice from, as a person of authority, as someone that naturally is a teacher, naturally is a leader, naturally is put in a position of power. And yeah, like a mighty one. That's how you might be perceived by many people. Um, but but it's important that this does not get to your head, because another thing with Jupiter or with Zeus is the exalted ego, the very well developed ego and the very well developed demiurge energy. So you may be playing around, working with the demiurge archetype, basically thinking that you are it, but there is a lot beyond you. So I would say that Lyra and Sirius are coming through to kind of expand your perspective and show you that there is a lot beyond you. What I channeled was that you've definitely been in Babylon and ancient Sumer. You've had past lives there. What I channeled with the Lyran constellation, though, I heard Lyran Kings, and I was going to say you are connected to Lyran Kings and Queens. I wanted to be inclusive, but then my guides were like, no, kings for a reason. Lyran kings because these are guides that carry the divine masculine principle, not the divine feminine principle, and they're different, and it's okay for them to be different. So this is what came through for you. So you might be connecting to this kingship energy and role in society even. I wanted to say something here. Yes, no matter your gender, I have to always specify this. No matter your gender, you're connecting to these divine masculine principles or kings from Lyra. you're working with great scientists from the higher dimensions, especially from Sirius. And I am hearing a Syrian reintegration program, the Syrians trying to help Zeta Reticuli, um, and they are trying to bring the science of Zeta Reticuli into a more wholesome and holistic science, such as the Syrian science, because Syrians have developed technology, but it's very spiritualized. Lyra is on a completely different level. The technology there is completely nature. So I do see this transmutation of denser evolutionary path where you evolve through density, you evolve through mastering the physical form. Now you are shifting, it's like you've mastered the physical form enough, now you're shifting into mastering the spiritual form. Because I do see past lives where you wanted to challenge yourself in order to master the physical the physical form, and you dived deep into science and the medical field perhaps, but I'm getting science as well, specifically physics, mathematics. I get this very, very strongly for you. So if you're drawn to some of the older scientists, Newton, I don't want to mention Tesla because it's so obvious, but like scientists from the past, basically the ones that laid the foundation for us. You're working with them. It's like, it's not really them that come through, but an emanation of who they were in those lifetimes, of who these souls were. Kind of like a looped, holographic impression of them is coming through, and you're receiving a lot of what they received in terms of data and information. I do feel many of you guys have a purpose, a life mission within the scientific field. And this does not make you less spiritual. End of a cycle, it's interesting because some of you have come specifically to experience the ending or the closure of the Aquarian age. So yes, it's still too early to see this, but you're here because you can't just enter at the end of the Aquarian age. You kind of have to be on board with things and the way things were. So you have a couple more incarnations to go, is what I'm getting from your guides here, and they're all oriented towards you closing this cycle and kind of closing a huge chapter that involved Earth as we know it. I see a shift almost towards another planet, maybe Jupiter, because we do have Jupiter, or it could be a planet in the Lyran constellation, in the Syrian constellation, but Jupiter is the literally the card representing a planetary, a cosmic body closest to us. So perhaps it will be Jupiter, Sirius, Lyra, maybe in that timeline, excuse me. But yes, I do see you guys are preparing for moving onto the next planetary plane. And because the physical form and the physical experience has bound you to way too many karmic cycles and stuff, these Anunnaki light codes, I think, talks about dissolving ego identity based on your genetic lineage, dissolving ego identity based on your origins. So your galactic team is coming through with the intention to dissolve any strong associations and labels as to where you come from and who you are and who are your cosmic ancestors, because that has been keeping you stuck in some time loops, and your guides are trying to help you get out of this. So, kind of to mention with more clarity in a condensed way the beings that are working with you. You have the Anunnaki and the Zeta Reticuli. And the Zeta Reticuli, I think, although they have good intentions, they're still doing the shit they've always done, such as, taking people on board on ships and doing experimentation. So if you are by any chance connecting with this consciousness, you want to be always aware. I'm not saying judge them, hate them, banish them for eternity. I'm just saying have awareness, okay? With Lyra, I already mentioned, it's like a Lyran Kings or a Council of Kings, which is very interesting. Reminds me of the round table of Avalon and King Arthur. But yeah, the Lyran Kings, this masculine principle they carry. Strong presence of the falcon as a spirit animal totem. Owls are also possible. You see, owls will come representative of Anunnaki, but also of Jupiterian guides, because they represent this wisdom. They are connected to Pallasatine, which is a daughter that came from the head of Jupiter, which means his intelligence and his wisdom is represented by her. So owls may come through, as well as falcons. And you may work with some teachers that present themselves in the form of their earthly incarnations. So you see, for example, as I said, Newton or somebody else, some other figure that was crucial for our scientific discoveries, that laid the foundation basically. They may come through with that image, with that face, etc., but they are much more complex beings beyond this, and many of them are from Syrian descent, just so you know. The Anunnaki show up to you through religious art. They will come to you with messages through religious art, because I'm seeing that a lot of the motifs and the geometry was laid by them. It was inspired by them. Okay, you have the Three of Swords here. There might have been some binding around your heart or operations around the neck, around the heart. And I'm not saying like medical surgery. I mean operations by these beings. I want to be clear about that. Yeah, I have a vision of the longest needle ever piercing your neck. It's so thin, it's so tiny. It doesn't hurt any part of you, but it creates an influence. Piercing your neck, and then I see another needle going through the heart. And I see a T shape The T shape does remind me of the spine, okay? Because when I was seeing this card and I talked about religious art and you getting messages or connections to the Anunnaki through religious art because they were part of it, somehow they inspired it, I was specifically getting visions of halos and art that depicts beings that look alienish. And then I see these needles and something about the head being separated from the body, but not in a way of beheading, more so like the chakras and the flow of energy, the flow in the head being separate from the flow in the body. So I think this has something to do with false saints and prophets, with a false halo, with a halo that was influenced I'm hearing you're learning the truth about who you are because you were told many lies about who you were and they made sense at that time, but they will no longer resonate and you will discover some truth around this. These cards right here, Anunnaki, Jupiter Hercules, the Zeta Reticuli, feel very separate from Sirius and Lyra. Neck pain, heart pains. I think that there's been something done there in that field. I'm hearing there's been influence over how you break down food. That's so strange. I'm getting these specific messages, but they're pretty random, so whatever resonates, take it, and whatever doesn't, wait a little bit for the messages to kind of come together in a cohesive structure. But as of now, they're pretty random. You guys, I don't know if you've recently visited a museum or a cathedral or some very spacious temple-like structure. I'm getting a message about construction work in your home inspired by such places, and it should be inspired by such places. It's like these Anunnaki god fathers, whatever beings that felt like gods and father figures, they come through, they work with your talents as a builder, as an architect of some kind. They want to help you build your home to be like a temple. This is what they were very good at, establishing structures, monuments, temples and castles and palaces and whatever that follow the geometry which was channeling certain energies. And I think that this is what they're guiding you to do in your own home. Maybe you are installing in the house some type of, I don't know, something on the rooftop, something on the roof, on the ceiling, maybe. Something connected to channeling energies properly, feng shui around the home. But it's not just about rearranging furniture or anything, it's about installing maybe a specific, I don't know, glass ornaments or ornaments on your windows or something like this, or ornaments on the ceiling. the Devil card. It wanted to continue come out and I was pushing it back in the deck. We have the Devil card with Capricorn energy. When I read about Lyra from this oracle book, from this deck, it was said that the creators of the deck basically researched and came to the conclusion that Lyra is about restoring the sacred nature of things that feel unsacred, sacred sexuality, divine sexuality, divine magic, prayer, hope, optimism, like basically things that were inverted, getting things back to their original state, getting inversions back to their original state. I think that you were trapped or pulled into some inverted matrices or inversions of reality, and the Lyran Kings, as a masculine principle, through a lot of discipline, are pulling you back into the divine state of these actions and these processes. But with the Devil, I'm telling you, this feels like intervention from the Z reticuli, the needles I was seeing, but also with the Three of Swords, I usually associate them with black magic because they're in the heart and it feels like some voodoo or hoodoo, whatever, some sort of influence that is kind of like black. And now we have the Devil. So I would beware of great teachers that you work with, great masters that you work with this Jupiter card. You might be entering a field where you naturally teach, you're naturally knowledgeable, you flow naturally with your talents, with your skills. This comes from your Anunnaki lineage. You naturally take a position of power. It's easy for you, rather easy. And I don't know how many of you realize it, but I want you to pay attention and see how accurate this is. Of course, this won't be for everybody, but still, for most of you, you fall into these positions rather easily. And because of that, sometimes you can get ahead of yourself because you can tap into things you're not ready to process. With the Devil card, this is when the student is still not ready to be better than the teacher, but the teacher assumes the student is better and the student assumes that they're better than the teacher, and it gets messy. I think that you might have had teachers that misguided you, misled you, not because of your intentions, but simply because they believed in you and in something you weren't ready for. The Lyrans are working heavily to prepare you through discipline and work for a higher level of your purpose. The Lyrans are saying we come forth to make up for what wasn't done properly by other teachers that Pile 4 worked with. Knight of Pentacles, or the King of Pentacles, we have Sun and Venus in Virgo or Mars in Leo. Slow and steady wins the race. I love that message. Slow and steady. It's interesting because this is an interpretation of Aleister Crowley's Book of Thoth tarot deck. And in his deck, this card is much brighter, but here he is a dark knight on a dark horse with a dark sky during nighttime, which is very, very interesting because it's the earth element, but it's much darker. So, as I mentioned, a lot of physical experiences take place when you sleep. Okay, that's just an extra confirmation. But this is also a message about persistence that you have here. The Lyrans want you to persist with something. I'm hearing grandfather. Some of you have inherited qualities from your grandfather that the lions say are given to you for special reasons. You're supposed to use these qualities. Whether this is a sense of good business, how to get the job done properly. But the King of Pentacles slash Knight of Pentacles in this card definitely talks about mastery of resources. Okay, and then you have Page of Swords. We have Pisces, Capricorn, and Aquarius. Yes, we have the winter signs. Okay. You guys are preparing for winter. You're preparing resources, food, things like that. You might be... I think your galactic team is preparing you for less generous times on Earth, which the Anunnaki kind of failed to do, because from your Anunnaki descent, you have this unconscious mindset around unlimited resources. Things will be handed to me. The Earth will gift to me. She will continue to give and supply me. But the Lyrians and the Syrians are smarter than that, especially the Lyrians, and they're like, you gotta get your hands dirty, help the Earth a little bit, provide for you, because she can't do it on her own. And I do see that you guys are preparing for winter time. So currently, you might be pushed into a lot more work, and a lot more must be done, and it's so appropriate because we are about to enter winter season. So any mindset of entitlement should be dissolved. And I'm not saying this because it's bad to have ego, confidence, a sense of authority or power or whatever. This is a good solar plexus chakra state, okay? However, when it gets out of hand, or when it's unconscious, when these mindsets operate in the unconscious, they usually go to some sort of extreme. Everything in the unconscious realms gets extreme because the unconscious realm is chaotic by nature. It's just the nature of reality. So this is not about bad or good or, light and dark, whatever. It's just that your Anunnaki descent is the genetic that you carry gives you these unconscious impressions that, you are supposed to be served and helped and held by the Earth in her arms, and she will supply always. But winter is coming powerful, and it's good to prepare for it. It's good to prepare for it. Gain some healthy skills around agriculture, growing your own food, things like that. I think it's gonna be very, very useful, because you do see in your life a lot of sudden detonations of figure in power, and these figures, maybe they were corrupted, maybe you didn't like them, but they somehow provided a part of your income, a part of your resources. This could even be parental figures that provided with inheritance or passive income stream. Some of these figures seem to be falling off their thrones, and you will suffer kind of the after effects of that, and some of your supply streams will be dried out, and this is why you must become more independent. You must become more independent, and you must become more skilled at providing your own resources, mastering and investing your own resources, or mastering the raw resources of the Earth and making them into supplies, tools, and anything you need. And that's why you're moving more from mastery of technology towards mastery of spirit or mastery of nature. That's why science and things like that are coming through from your Syrian guides. The Lions are inspiring that fiery spark, that fiery passion, that drive and motivation, that energy, force. The Syrians are inspiring the mental processes. Okay. But one thing I like about the Devil card, let me tell you why I love this card. Now, the Devil has his third eye open. The Devil grants access to hidden secret knowledge and to forbidden knowledge. Yes, it is the apple from the tree of evil and good in the Garden of Eden, but sometimes you need that knowledge about evil and good in order to do what's best for you and your loved ones. So I do think you guys have access to hidden knowledge, forbidden, in fact, forbidden knowledge. And maybe that forbidden knowledge is not hidden, it's just right in front of you but masked, okay? And you are uncovering it. So maybe you have access to agendas and plans for how the world is gonna go. Follow that information and do what's best in order to deal with what is planned for the future. You have access to certain information, and especially to forbidden, for the masses type of information, for a reason. And the Page of Swords, because we have Pisces, we have Aquarius, we have Capricorn, once again confirms that yes, in your dream state, you've been visited. Maybe some of you have even been taken on ships, and I see that your guides... By the way, if you hear my stomach is growing because I need to have breakfast soon anyways, but what I see is that these Zeta Reticuli, or even some of their leaders on these ships, they show you farming. I don't know why I keep saying farming, but it's not on the earth, it's on ships. And I'm hearing that some of the Zeta Reticuli that are trying to be reintegrated or to, they're part from the present timeline, they're trying to be the good guys now. They're getting crops and things like that, they're getting seeds before it's too late, because I'm getting some messages around some of us have the intention to work through some heavier timelines, not because we're not spiritually ascended to be on 5D earth, but because someone needs to hold a standard for spiritual ascension no matter what the timeline is. And these beings, they're holding a standard for spiritual ascension for the rest of the grace, and they are trying to preserve earth as it is at this current point before seeds and plants and food that we grow and animal forms get corrupted or influenced furthermore by modification. They're trying to take samples of the natural state of things before it gets too late. They're saying that it's still not too late, but we're going there, and they're trying to preserve. So they're showing you farming gardens or rooms where they keep these seeds. And what I'm getting a strong message is that this is no better. It's not the better option. It doesn't mean we can ruin Earth and just get the best of her on ships and preserve it, but they plan to replant these when Earth is ready to be reborn. Okay, at least the timeline that is kind of going to have harder time managing. One more card, please. Okay, this one. Alright, we have Seven of Pentacles, Saturn and Taurus. Oh my gosh. No freaking way. If you... Listen, you guys, I have not worked with this deck a lot, but can you see the T shape I was talking about? And Saturn and Taurus is about depletion of resources. And look, the human being is within the earth, nurturing it. Oh well, this is getting deep. Well, I think that this is all I have for your pile 4, because I really want to go and grab some breakfast. But I hope it was enough. If you don't have the means to go into the extended version. But for the rest of you, I'll see you in your extended version of this reading. Thank you so much for being here, Pile 4. Thank you so much for listening to the messages. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe to support my channel. You can also donate to my PayPal donation link or my Coffee link in the description box, but you're not obligated to do that. I just want to hear about your experiences in the comment section. That is the best thing. I love doing that. And once again, thank you so much for your presence and support and your patience. These readings that I work on them for days, and one pile takes me like 2 hours. I premeditate. It's almost 1 hour each pile, or 30 something minutes, 40 something minutes. And before the preparation before that, it really takes a long time. That's why I'm not getting content out every week or every 2 or 4 days or something like this. I cannot sustain such output, so I'm not gonna do that. I don't care if I don't get subscribers because I'm not putting content out there, or if some of you would unsubscribe. I understand. It's just that this is my flow, this is how I do my work, and this is how I think I can bring the best quality, because I also work on my personal sessions, which I put a lot of energy into. So I just wanted to make sure that you guys know I have not gone on a vacation. I don't just disappear from my channel and don't upload for months for no reason. I study a lot and research a lot, and I work a lot, and I put a lot of energy into these readings, and I hope they help. That's why I love to talk to you in the comment section. I really hope that the effort is useful, okay, and it makes a change in your lives, at least a little bit. So thank you again, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.